Okay, so one of the teams I have seen in the teapot that before the team swap and a bit after the team swap that really just didn't click with me, and I thought that, the creators didn't really like as much is, of course, Death P.A.C.T. again, and Death P.A.C.T. yet again. And now we're not talking about the original Death P.A.C.T. from BFB, because that's a whole different one. Death P.A.C.T. from BFB only had one elimination, or one loss. And the reason I say a flawed team is because, well, they're a team that, makes themselves about preventing death and creating trust. Now, there's no problem with preventing death and creating trust. It's just the fact that, when you make your team about doing one thing, it kind of gets in the way of doing the other thing, which is the challenge, and which is where Death P.A.C.T. yet again seem to almost vary. Because, especially in Death P.A.C.T. again, before the team swap, the whole team was basically a mess. They were one of the first teams to be up for elimination. They lost Pi. Then a few episodes later, Remote, and then Lightning. And that had dwindled their numbers down to 4. And then after that, they locked in. They started working hard, making sure that they wouldn't lose any more members, which really paid off, especially when we got to the team swap. And I believe that, after a while, especially in Teapot 13, Robot Flower, especially with Robot Flower on the team, it rigged them. They shouldn't have gotten Robot Flower. The prize shouldn't have been Robot Flower, and Robot Flower should have gone to a different team rather than Death P.A.C.T. Because Death P.A.C.T's goal was to, in Teapot 13, defend the hotel from the bugs, making sure they don't get into Two's room. And now you can kind of blame Snowball, or Pencil, because Pencil locked Two's door. Snowball and Grassy accidentally broke the door, and of course, Death P.A.C.T. yet again started attacking Robot Flower, because Robot Flower's out of control and destroying things. And the goal for them was to stop the bug from entering the hotel, getting to Two's room, and they failed that task. And it's not because they were preventing death, it's just the fact that, while they were doing it, Robot Flower's like, well, I don't really, Robot Flower was out of control at that time and decided to rig the whole team. Now, I believe so that, Death P.A.C.T. yet again, wouldn't be a team that you would want to be on if you were ever in Teapot. Because, like I said, for one, they kind of put themselves in a situation where it's like, our goal is to prevent death, but we don't care if we lose the challenge. Which you should care, because if you lose the challenge, you're going to be up for elimination, and, your team number will dwindle down to none. Which, even though we feared the merge, it's like, Death P.A.C.T. it isn't a perfect team. I mean, I get it. Between Death P.A.C.T. Team 2 and Do, they were not good teams. Like they wouldn't be teams you would be on, but Death P.A.C.T. yet again, or Death P.A.C.T. again, yeah, it is Death P.A.C.T. yet again, especially when we hit the team swap. Well, it wasn't really good. It was, not that good. One of the worst teams you would want to be in the merge, because Teapot 13 they lost a challenge, Teapot 14 they lost a challenge, Teapot 15 they lost a challenge, Teapot 16 they didn't lose the challenge, Teapot 17 they didn't lose the challenge, Teapot 18 was, BFB, so that didn't count. Teapot 19, they lost the challenge. And then Teapot 21 was when we hit the merge. Now, as you can tell from the episodes I've listed, during the team swap, they didn't do as good, because they lost Gady, then they lost, Robot Flower, then they lost Pin, and then in Teapot 21, they had lost Tree, leaving their team at 3 members. And then there's 3 of them. So they're like, we might as well hit the merge. So everybody's merged into Team Dead or Team Alive. And knowing how we're in the Defeat 1 trilogy, it's like, And, well, of course, we're in the final 10. If you haven't seen Teapot 24, we are in the final 10, which, means that any character at this point, there's no teams, or just, one big team or family or whatever. But, yeah, team. And, it's a free-for-all. It's not like, if your team wins the challenge, the other teams are up for elimination. No, it's only one person can win the challenge, and everybody else is up for elimination. Especially with Death P.A.C.T's case, holding back isn't really a good thing, because in the world of BFDI, you kind of have to remember, death is something that always happens. It's natural there. You can't just say, oh yeah, we're going to prevent death when who prevented the most deaths in BFB? Lai prevented the most deaths in BFB. She even said it herself. She prevented the most deaths out of everybody. Nobody did a thing in BFB. Nobody on the team did a thing. And they barely prevented death in Teapot 2. It's like, dude, you say, oh yeah, we're here to prevent death, but you suck at preventing death. Well, like, your team isn't good at doing something when you know you will lose the freaking challenge, which is on you in the first place. Because, like, I get it, like, in an opposite universe, it would be life pack, you kill people, but you don't. Like, they made themselves about freaking preventing death. It's not even funny, because they lost the challenges a few times, more than any other team in the fucking show, and, it's really horrible when, because the team is good, it's just the fact that, they made themselves about preventing death, so it was kind of like their challenge, per se, which is preventing death, but, when somebody dies, you can't control it, it's like, funny circumstances, like, oh my god, somebody just got crushed, especially in Teapot 19, we see Tree get ran over by the Force, so it's like, you making your team about preventing death isn't helping you with the challenge. It might help you save yourself sometimes, but not all the freaking time.